Oh, hey there. Welcome back. This episode, I'm going to take this illustration, take it in a blender, do another 2.5D treatment to it, and come up with an animation that looks something like this. Now, a little bit about the piece. It's actually some development work from a friend's feature project. His name's David Knott. He was a colleague when I was at Disney TV, and he's been working on this project. It's called French Moto. It takes place in Provence, France, in a post-World War I world. It's a really exciting project, so I'm glad I'm able to share a little bit of the development on it. After doing the digital illustration, I really wanted to see what it might look like in a finished animation project. So that's why I used Blender to kind of give it a little bit of life, and I'll show you how I did it. Let's jump in. All right, here's the illustration. This is the important step of really breaking out all the different layers so that we can export them and import them as PNG files into Blender. So we need to just go through, make sure we're painting behind everything and have all the images nice and clean to kind of anticipate what type of movement we might want to have in 2.5D. And in this case, I really needed to separate because like the fence was in the same layer as the building, so I kind of had to duplicate and just have a nice clean layer to work with. The shadow as well, I want to have that as its own file I can turn on and off. All right, those plants in front of the building, I think those are going to be separate cards, so I will separate those as layers. So as you're painting, if you know that you're going to do something in Blender, you can almost kind of plan ahead. This case, I really had no idea. I was just kind of doing a concept painting, and then I decided it would be cool to add some 3D to it later on. So I'm having to kind of paint things out, paint behind things, make sure the things are nice and clean, just so that when we start moving things in Blender, we don't have weird glitches. And I'm also drawing, not just behind, but I'm trying to drawing under this building, just so if there's any kind of positioning issues, I don't have to worry about having a gap underneath the building. The clouds are a big one, because I'm gonna have the clouds moving, so all of a sudden, the cloud bits that are directly behind the building become very important. Okay, and now they're nicely organized. Let's hop over and start exporting them. All right, now I'm doing these on the iPad just because it's faster, but when I actually export them, I much prefer to do it on desktop. Okay, we are now in Clip Paint Studio, and I'm just gonna go through all the folders I created on the iPad and start exporting them so that they're nice, transparent PNGs. Pretty straightforward. I've done this on pretty much every video. Just name them so that you can find them easily and just start isolating all the layers and exporting them as transparent PNGs. Okay, now the elements I know are not going to be projected, but are rather going to be just cards. I'm going to take those and I'm going to crop them down nicely just so they're a little easier to work with, like so. Just think of it as a card that we put in our scene and we position manually rather than trying to project it as a whole. Same thing with the bushes. And the grass, you may be tempted to make a little grass file for each piece, but I will show you later why it's better just to have one big one. Okay, that looks good. All right, and now over to fspy. This is where you could download fspy. So now what fspy does is allows us to import an image and then basically tell the file how the perspective works. And how we do that, drag these little lines, the greens go to one vanishing point, the reds go to another vanishing point. You can adjust how many vanishing points there are. It's important to make sure that our little axis representation feels nice and straight, because that'll make sure that the camera isn't tilted in a weird way. And then we want to move that axis to a place where basically the ground plane of the grid will be. It doesn't really matter, it just makes it a little easier if our model feels like it's above the ground. All right, and then save as. All right, and now we're gonna jump into Blender. All right, first thing we do, go to File Import, go to fspy, and load in the file you created. And like in previous videos, it sets up your camera nicely. So we have our image, we have a cube. Okay, when I'm modeling these, I like to split my screen. And so how you do that is if you just put your cursor to kind of the edge of the screen and then hit the right mouse button, you'll get a little pop-up, and that will give you two views. So that way we can keep one that's locked onto the camera view that has our image reference, and then one we can rotate so that we can really see what we're actually modeling. And then all we're doing is we're just trying to get the placement to build our barn. Okay, and then we just want to transform our cube so that it matches our barn. And remember, when you're modeling for projection mapping, you want it to be just a little bit slightly bigger than the actual reference, so that way when it projects, the edges will be nicely visible, and any excess you won't see because it's a transparent texture map. This barn is a really simple shape. We just got to make sure that we line it up nicely with our reference. And then we only need the front side, so I'm going to delete the reverse planes, and then I think that'll work pretty good. Okay, to project, select all your faces in Edit, and then go up to Unwrap, and we're going to want a Project from View. Okay, in UCU Paint, we'll set up a new material. We're going to do an emissions and make sure that you have your alpha enabled checked. Cool. And then all you do is go to the plus sign, click Open Image, pick your barn image, project it. You'll notice there's white around it. All you have to do is go over to the alpha setting and then turn it to 0. And then you'll have a nice, clear, transparent image. Okay, now we need to build out our ground. Now the ground's a little tricky because it's not flat. And so we're going to start with a plane, and I'm going to stretch it so that it feels like it fits the area pretty good. All right, and then we'll need to subdivide. So to subdivide, just right click, and then it should be one of your options, subdivide. And you can manually pick how many times, just kind of eyeball it to get an amount that looks pretty good. Okay, so now what I'm doing is I'm going to use the proportional editing tool, and I'm going to try to sculpt it in a way that matches the mountain. So just going to select some faces, and then all you have to do for the proportional editing is you just hit O to make sure that you turn it on, and it looks like it's this one right here, or you can click the button. And then if you just use transform, it'll automatically start doing it proportionally. And then you scroll your mouse wheel and it'll change the size of the influence. So messing around with that a bit, you'll get a nice shape. You'll have to select different parts and push and pull. You could also just use the sculpt tool. Maybe I'll do that next time. But for this, you get it pretty close. Once again, we're projecting. It doesn't have to be perfect, but the more we can kind of have the geometry mimic the angle, the better of a projection we'll probably get. And I'm just gonna delete the excess to make it easier to work with. We only really need what's contained within the frame of the projection. All right, and just like before, we're gonna select it all. We're gonna unwrap it using Project from View, and then just pick the appropriate texture. And there we go. Now there's some little errors that we will probably need to fix later, but for right now, I think that can work. So it's not perfect, so I'm kind of moving things around. I've noticed that when I turned it, sometimes you get kind of weird gaps, and so I'm gonna try to fix those as much as possible. Blender is all about spending countless hours just with minor tweaks, trying to just get it to look a little bit better. Okay, so now I am adding in a cloud, and I'm just gonna build out a plane and then project my texture onto it. You can also import the cloud as a card. Either way works fine. Just projecting, you tend to get something that matches your reference a little bit closer. And then I'm gonna have the blue as a separate card, just so that I can move around and it won't also move the sky gradient. It's a lot of just kind of tweaking to try to get the best placement for when the camera moves. We want the cloud to feel like it's at a good angle. And you know, the earlier you can figure out what camera move you want, the better, because then you'll make small tweaks to your actual model and textures to fit that camera move. But once I kind of have the major shapes, there's more shapes I need to add in, but the basic components, this is a good time to start kind of messing around and thinking about what I want the camera move to be. And you'll quickly notice what limitations just won't work at all. And so the sooner we can kind of set things up with our camera, the sooner we can fix things. Just remember, keep your camera separate. Leave your fspy camera alone and just make a new camera if you want to move the camera. And you can always switch between the two, because anytime you need to reproject, you need to make sure that your original fspy camera is still at the exact same angle. Cool. I think that's a good start for a camera move, and we can start adding in the other details. So we have a nice movement. I want to be able to see the kind of perspective change a little bit on the barn. I want to see the cloud have some nice travel to it. Okay, I'm importing the shadow of the fence first so that I know where to place the fence, because the shadow of the fence is actually part of the ground texture. So it ends up just being an extra layer in UCU paint. No. All right, and now I'm going to import the fence card itself. Go to image, import mesh plane. If you don't see it, check your Blender plugins, because it is included, but sometimes it's not always automatically installed. All right, import our fence flat card. And now, since I have the shadow, that'll help me kind of figure out the best placement for it. And you're noticing that I'm starting to break away from my reference. I'm having to kind of move things so that they all fit nicely. And that's working pretty good. Works good with my camera move. Although there's this weird tangent I'm kind of getting with one of the fence posts. So that's why I'm tweaking this area quite a bit. All right, and now we're just going in and adding in the rest of the elements. So starting with those plants there, I'm gonna import an image plane. And remember how I mentioned that it's easier if the textures are all in one texture file? This is why, because when we import them into Blender, we can then splice them up into different objects. But if we ever need to make any edits, we can just go back to the same image texture and not have to worry about trying to figure out like which plant it is if you have like multiple different plant textures. So easier just to keep it all consolidated if possible. I've even done projects where I have, 20 different types of plants and trees and I just have them all in one sheet. So I use the knife tool to splice them up how I want. And then once I have faces that fit pretty good, I can delete the excess. And then all you do is select all of them and separate by loose parts. I have this function on my quick favorites, but if you go up into mesh, you'll find the separate option and you can do the same thing. Okay, and now they will be 3 different objects. So now we just place it. Okay, same thing with the grass. Import it, place it, split it up into different objects. All right, and then use the loose parts function to separate them into their individual objects. And then we can really fine tune their placement. This type of stuff, it's a little time consuming because you're just kind of going back and forth, pushing and pulling shapes into a desired location. Cool thing is you can duplicate them for twice as much grass. Okay, now onto the rocks. So I ended up wanting rocks as their own texture cards. Originally they were kind of baked into the ground, but they were starting to look kind of distorted, so I want them to have a nice silhouette against the hillside. Gotta have the cat. All right, now we placed most of our items. More, but that's a basic idea of how we want this to work. Okay, so then this was the next pass on it. I wanted to add a little bit of depth to it, so I ended up duplicating my hillside and having a second one. So it's literally just duplicated, and then I kind of tweaked the colors a little bit. I also duplicated my clouds, so I have a little more cloud coverage. So it's getting better. I like the multiplane effect that's going on. I also kind of repositioned some of my objects so that I get kind of a nice composition out of it. But it's still missing something. It feels like the camera's pushing into nothing. And so I really wanted to add some kind of character, but I don't have a character for the actual project. So this is where I got creative. Okay, so for another project, I had this fox walk cycle that I thought might work. It's already animated, it's already built, it's already pretty flat. It is black and white, but we have something to work with. So we did. Okay, here's my fox. I just went in, I was able to swap out the colors, paint a little bit of shadows, and worked pretty good though. And it kind of felt like it fit stylistically. It has a little bit of a Miyazaki vibe to it. You can see in the scene, he opens the door. Oh, speaking of the door, I also ended up having to build out the door. So, built a little door. I took my model of the house and I just cut into the model a little bit. So the fox gets tucked away into the building, and here we go. Camera moves nicely, door pops open, fox walks across. All right, well that wraps up our project. I hope you found it useful, and please like and subscribe. All right, until next time.